Yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, Season 2, Episode 33, Live Free or Lie Hard. I like it. I like the pun. I'm a huge Bruce Willis fan. Die Hard's one of my all-time favorites. I am your host, Eric, my main man, right over there. Ron, how are you?
I'm doing quite well, Eric. How are you?
I am doing great. I mean, we are ready to unfold a bunch of stories this week. And we're going to start right off with our leadoff story. And that's going to be on, I didn't think we'd be covering this anymore, but unfortunately we continue to still have to cover it. And that would be Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson has finally received his ultimate sentence, if we want to call it that. And that's a 11-game suspension and a $5 million fine, which is the most in NFL history for a player. But before we get into our conversation about Deshaun Watson, let's listen to a quick piece of his press conference from yesterday.
Deshaun, how did you go from I've done nothing wrong, I've never disrespected any woman, to settling so many of these lawsuits and now agreeing to this discipline? How did you get from that point to this?
Well, I've always been able to stand on my innocence, and I've always been able to sit here and sorry, you want me to?
Do you care? Thank you.
I've always stood on my innocence and always said that I've never assaulted anyone or disrespected anyone, and I'm continuing to stand on that. But at the same time, I have to continue to push forward with my life and my career. And for us to be able to move forward, I have to be able to take steps and put pride to the side. And I'm going to continue to stand on my innocence and keep pushing forward. And I've always, stood on not disrespecting or sexual assaulting anyone.
What do you apologize for then? What do you apologize for?
For everyone that was affected about this situation. There was a lot of people that was triggered.
But not the women that accused you of this?
I've apologized to all women. So anybody that was affected, even yourself, everything. So
Did he just call him a woman?
No, even yourself, apologizing to everyone, including not just the women, all women. Little gut-wrenching to hear him speak about it and kind of nonchalantly not taking any accountability for what has happened. Regardless if you're innocent or not, you put yourself in situations that could be questioned. And we've discussed this in the past about 24, 25 different masseuses. When the team provides you with that kind of, situation in the facilities that are owned by the team and obviously would put you in a less promiscuous situation.
Yeah.
And yet you don't want to apologize for it like you've done nothing wrong.
Yeah. Look, there's only one reason to go outside the team for a massage. I mean, it's only one. I'm not going to, sit here and say what the reason is, but you're expecting, a certain service from, outside the facility massage therapists.
Yeah, and again, I think
just assuming that is just ignorant as it is.
And most of them, I believe, weren't like professionally masseuses. They weren't, certified.
Right.
So he was literally looking for women that he knew basically could be vulnerable or may possibly want to do stuff with him because he's a famous athlete.
Yeah.
So I will ask you this question. Is the punishment fair in your eyes now?
I don't think the punishment could ever be fair in my eyes because just knowing, why the NFL does things, look, we're not going to candy coat this. The NFL just made it look like they wanted a harsher punishment because that's what they have to answer to their female fans for. So of course, oh yes, of course we wanted a bigger, suspension. But when you turn around and you settle it just so that way, oh, his first game back is going to be against Houston, the team that he got traded from when all this happened. So that's real convenient. That's a money grab to make so the both teams can make a huge money grab for all the troubles, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I think overall I was disgusted by that part of it. So you conveniently make it an 11-game suspension. He's able to come back, practice with the team. He doesn't get to play that first game back, and then he's back for Week 12 versus the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
This is just a publicity stunt on the NFL's part to make money, because now this is going to be a game that everybody automatically we're going to have eyes on. Any game Deshaun Watson first came back to. But now you're literally putting it on the team that he was formerly with, and you don't think this is going to get moved to like a 4:00 game where it's going to get more publicity and more eyes on it so that they can get more views. This is all it is. It's scripted. Exactly, Manny. Thanks for joining.
I wouldn't be surprised if they move it to a Monday night game.
And possibly could. They have the ability to slide later in the season and shift games around. It's disgusting that you ultimately had an opportunity to do something right. Yeah. And instead of doing that, again, I think the 11 games, I was like, I'm okay with that. $5 million fine. Okay. I mean, granted, in the grand scheme of what he's making, it's not going to really put a huge dent in his pocket, but the NFL still had an opportunity to do something right here. We're saying, look, if we're going to settle on 11 games, maybe let's make it 10 or let's make it 12 so that his first game back doesn't make us look like all we're trying to do is publicize this. And that's what they did. So whoever made that decision ultimately said, look, Deshaun, we want you back for the Houston game. That's what it says to me. It's not about what you did, who you hurt, what happened. It's more about us making money. And at the end of the day, that's going to put more money in everybody else's pocket, including the owners, the league, everyone.
Yeah, and to the credit of the comments coming in, no, the best thing is not to remove it from conversation, because you need to hold the NFL accountable too. They have to be held accountable. So if you just brush it aside and act like it's gone, that's letting them off the hook. And I'm not going to let the NFL off the hook. I'm not letting Deshaun Watson off the hook. I want this in everybody's fresh in their minds when the moment comes, when he steps back on that field, because I want him to have a rain of boos.
Which you would anyway, because it's going to be in Houston.
Right, I know. But that was a good cue to use that little button. But
you want the boo? You want
I wanted the boos. So you want to hear those, because that's like he deserves this. Exactly. So I'm not letting the NFL and Deshaun Watson off the hook by not talking about it, because it's not fair to those women to have it just forgotten.
Again, the fact that they settled kind of bothers me as well, because I think they had an opportunity. But then the NFL, you talk a good game, you had an opportunity, and ultimately money talks. Yeah. Money talks. And that's how I see this whole situation. I would have rather you just keep it at 6 games then at that point than
the big show.
Make it longer, the suspension, and then allow him to come back on the biggest game that would have been his biggest game coming anyway next season. This upcoming season. This would have been the game.
How do you decide 11? Wouldn't it be 10 or a dozen or,
right.
If you're going to use an odd number, you usually use it in 5 or, it's, 15,
10, 15
maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just baffling to me. how they came up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
No,
Look,
it's just
we're not condoning. The fact that we want to continue to talk about it. We want to make sure that people understand or realize that for some reason the NFL did this, and it wasn't because Deshaun Watson sexually assaulted 24 women, and this is what they felt was going to be the punishment. They did this ultimately to make money, because this is all they're going to talk about is the return to Houston, Deshaun Watson, his first game back in Houston. It's just they had an opportunity to make us not talk about it. Because if this was going to be week 10, he's coming back. I don't know who they're playing. Who cares?
Yeah.
You made it so that we ultimately have a story, because it's not about the penalty anymore. It's about you making money.
Yeah.
That's all this was about.
Yeah. And this is classic NFL. Classic NFL.
And it won't change. It won't change. And the sad thing is, look, as upset as we're going to be, we love the sport. We're going to continue to watch it. We could all sit here and go, you know what? They did this wrong, and look what they've done. They know the product they have, people are going to continue to watch no matter what. No matter what. And that game in Houston, we're all going to watch it. As upset as we are, we're going to watch it.
Yeah.
Because we're going to want to see.
Yep.
So we're going to go and we're going to stick to the NFL, and we're going to talk about the next gentleman we're going to bring up here, and something that'll make you go, say what? So this is a press conference when they asked basically Todd Bowles if Tom Brady was going to be back, and this is his response.
We practice on our own.
When do you expect him to come back? When is the day when he's supposed to return?
We'll see. We'll talk about it next week. Not concerned about it right now. We're trying to practice against Tennessee and play a game. I said sometime after Tennessee. There's no definitive date for me, but we'll check on it. We'll keep in touch, and we'll find out.
What does that mean? There's no definitive date. There's no definitive timetable. This is your star quarterback. This is the only way you're getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this to me, Eric, screams that they have no clue what Tom Brady's doing.
No, he controls the team. He's running that team. And it's clear as day at this point. Because if your head coach can't definitively say he'll be back on this date, what are you telling, A, the team, but B, the media? What does that mean?
Yeah.
I just don't understand how this it continues to be. I don't know if people want to make stories and continue to have the stories go on and on, so we'll just keep it so vague. But you can't tell me if the star quarterback of your team needed to take some time off. A, we don't know why, personal reasons.
Yeah.
But B, you can't give us a date as to when he's going to return. Is he back week 1? Is that an option? Oh, we'll talk about it next week. So if he's not back next week, what do you say? Is it the following week? When is he back? Maybe he doesn't come back.
Yeah, no, this is craziness. This is like, it's like a soap opera already. I mean, that's what the NFL has been producing. It's a soap opera, and they want you glued to that TV every single day of the year. And with Tom Brady, he has somehow discovered that that word "me," which wasn't part of his vocabulary, a short 3 years ago. Now, all of a sudden, it is all about me, meaning Tom Brady.
So, how many weeks in an NFL season?
Well,
see how good you are.
18.
18 weeks, right? So,
went by.
We're sitting here. Very good, by the way. Very good. Sports Unfolded. All of your knowledge. We give it to you. 18 weeks in a season. So I'm going to ask you this. If Dan may be right, it may be an issue with his current marriage. Giselle didn't want him to come back. I got to go home. I've got to try to take care of some stuff. What happens week 1? It's 18 weeks now. Are you just going to, hey, after week 5, oh, she's upset. I'm going to have to take 2 weeks off. to go try to how does this work?
Well, we know who's controlling that marriage.
But even you're committed to coming back, right? He retired, unretired. If you're
Yeah.
committed to coming back, that means A, you got her blessing, is what I would think. Or B, you just did it, and now you've got to live with that consequence. You either got to figure out how you're going to make this work, or it's not going to work. You can't.
Look, I can see this scenario in my head. Okay, now, being in my head is probably not
pretty
where
scary.
the average fan wants to be, but I could see it like this. It's like exactly. Tom goes home after the season ends, and he's like, "Well, should I retire? Should I not?" And it's like, "What do you think, Giselle?" And it's like, "Hey, why don't we just take a vacation, and then I'll retire?" And okay, yeah, that's good. That sounds like a plan, Tommy. So he retires, and then she says, "Oh, I got a new modeling gig coming up this year, so I can't go." So he's like, "All right, I'll just unretire."
Yeah, I'll come back. I'll just go hang out with the boys again.
And that didn't go over well.
Look, if he can't make a decision at some point, I just feel like, look, he didn't want Bruce Arians to be the head coach. I think that's one of the reasons he retired. He was not going to go through another year with Bruce Arians. So he gets his wish. He ultimately says, "Look, Tampa, you want me back? You got to make this happen." Bruce Arians conveniently steps aside.
Yep.
Right? Todd Bowles comes in. Todd, I own you, okay? As Tom Brady, I own you, and I'm going to tell you when I want to come in, what I'm going to do, and how I'm going to do it. You don't need to know. I mean, you're a head coach because I picked you, because I wanted you, not because the organization is basically giving you the keys to the car. I still have the keys. You drive the car when I tell you to drive that car.
That's right.
And this is where we're at, because how does a player, we talk about the NBA and them controlling teams and telling what players they want and trade me. I'm not staying. This is the same thing now.
Yeah, but
It's
there's
happening
only
in the
one
NFL.
guy. There's only one guy that has that power, and that is Tom Brady.
Which is amazing.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the power because they got rid of the guy he wanted.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
Look, it was a good possibility he wasn't going to be back.
Yeah.
Last season, there's a lot of questions. Would they even bring him back? So again, it's Kareem Hunt, great example. Again, I want to be traded. Organization, no, that's it. Yeah. Don't play. Don't show up. Whatever.
Yeah.
You don't get paid. Tom Brady, I'm going to take the preseason off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but when you think about it, the proof is in the pudding with Tom. I gotta think, maybe it is a good idea that he does take the time off, because does he really need to practice?
No, but you talk about, listen, there's a bunch of new receivers on this team.
I understand that.
And you talk about chemistry and timing
Yeah.
and all the things that he does so well. It's because he practices so hard.
Yeah.
And that's starting to go by the wayside.
Right. So he is already half out of the game. And this is why I'm saying, like Tampa Bay is going to have a harder time this season than what they think they're going to. Because to me, Tom Brady is already retired.
Yeah.
Because, he's just not there. He's not there. Literally
and
not there.
We can look at the fact that he signed that massive deal to go to the broadcasting booth afterwards. And those guys travel a lot. So you're talking another 18 weeks again for 10 years. Like, if they can't figure it out now as a couple, and she wanted him out, why would he even sign that contract to begin with?
Maybe the problem is that contract.
Hey, the prenup?
No, the contract. The contract to do broadcasting.
Yeah, I think that's another. Because look at, she probably said, "Oh, you know what? You're out. You're only going to be going Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, somewhere in there, because it's usually a couple days before the game. They travel in, they do their thing, right, and then back out. Now it's 5 days a week. You know what I mean? 18 weeks. It could be. Look, at the end of the day, when he retired, it's, I want to spend time with my family. I want to do all this stuff. So something changed somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
And you can't say Tampa Bay. I'm not saying they're a lock for the Super Bowl because I don't feel like the NFC, I think, is wide open. But I still feel the Rams are a better team, all depending on Stafford's help. But the Rams, to me, are still a better team than the Bucs.
Yes.
And if they face them again, I feel like the Rams would beat them again. Let's move on to our triple play, my friend. And we're going to go, because it's episode 33, we decided to go 33 years ago. These three players led the NBA in blocks, and we're going to decide who we start, bench, and cut. And those three players, Hakeem Olajuwon, the Dream, Patrick Ewing, and David Robinson. You are first, my friend, this week. So you get to grace us with the incorrect list, and then I will give everyone the correct order. You're up.
Okay, mine is really easy. How many rings do they have?
Between them all?
No, each individual. How many rings?
Hakeem has what, 2?
Yep.
Robinson has 1.
Yep.
Ewing has none.
Okay, there you go.
That is not how you're basing this. Are you seriously basing it on that?
Look, I mean, why wouldn't I cut Ewing?
I agree with you. I cut Ewing as well.
So
but
I'm going to put the Dream.
I'm not putting it because of the rings. I'm putting it. Listen, Hakeem Olajuwon, 3-time block champion, 2-time defensive player of the year, 2-time total rebound, 9-time all defensive.
Right. And that's why he belongs as the starter. And this is why David Robinson should be the bench. And Ewing is getting
but
cut.
Your theory was rings.
No, but that's the order that they just happened to fall.
Oh, is that what it was?
You know, like, look, I mean, it's an obvious choice. I mean, that's the order here. That is the pecking order. Now, if you're taking out David Robinson and you're putting in Tim Duncan, then it's changed.
Oof.
You know, but
I don't think Tim Duncan
I take
played
Olajuwon over Robinson.
89, Tim Duncan. I don't even. He'd be a wee little boy at that point. But no,
just
good.
Saying as the player.
I gotcha. Let's continue with this basketball thing. We're going to talk some NBA. Good job, Ron.
Wait, so it was easy.
It was an easy list.
I didn't have to look it up.
The stats, not their rings.
But the stats dictate that.
Although I don't know. Did Hakeem win 2 with Houston? Or was it the one? The OJ year. Where they beat the Knicks. I think that's the only one. He might have only won 1 also.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Let's talk about the man. I know you were so excited when you heard this news. You probably had a little party, talked to all your friends, said LeBron James signs a 2-year extension for $97.1 million to remain with the Lakers. Was this a good deal?
No. Why would it be a good deal?
He's one of the best players in the history of the NBA, Ron.
Yeah. How old is he?
38. He'll be 38.
Right.
You can't say he's still not at the top of his game, though. He's still one of the best players in the league.
When he's in.
Yeah. So, again, if you get 65 games out of him.
Look, are you going to get 65 out of him?
I don't know.
I don't think you can. You know, and that just leaves a little too many games out for my liking. And not to mention, he hasn't exactly brought any hardware home to LA.
He won the bubble title. He won the bubble title.
Yeah, whatever. That doesn't count.
So here's where I feel like this could come back. Now, Russell Westbrook, we expect to be gone after this season if they can move him this season. You know, there's been rumors out there that LeBron signed this deal because he was basically told that they've got a deal in place to move Westbrook already, possibly for Kyrie, something with Brooklyn. Let's just say what if. But if that is not the case, they do not have any. Listen, first of all, Westbrook's making $47 million. LeBron James, second on the team, $44.4 million. Anthony Davis, $37.9 million. Taylor Horton Tucker, is making 10.2. Now I'm going to give you the rest of the team in the bench. Let me know when you know any of these guys. Are you ready? First up, Lonnie Walker, Kendrick Nunn. None I know a little bit. Stanley Johnson, Damian Jones, Wayne Gabriel, Thomas Bryant, Troy Brown Jr., so I wonder if that's any Patriot relation there, Juan Toscano Anderson, Austin Reeves, and Max Christie.
I know who Austin Reeves is.
Do you? Who's he? This is bad.
Isn't that Superman's son?
Oh, jeez.
I couldn't say it with a straight face. Christopher Reeves.
Christopher Reeves, I gotcha. Oh, man.
Exactly. No,
So-
it's a terrible team. That you
Right?
can't win
So-
with this team.
How many minutes can these guys legitimately play? And now you just added more money.
This is the point I'm making. Okay, you've got 3 guys on that roster that can't put in a full season.
Yeah,
3 guys.
no.
And they're your only guys that you have, really. Like, when you think about it, that's what they got. They only have those 3. And as soon as somebody goes to the bench, the team caves. So those 3 guys could not make it to the playoffs last year.
No, and I don't see it. If this team stays intact. And even if you get rid of Westbrook and you add Kyrie Irving,
It's still not going to matter.
it's not going to matter. Like, they've got nothing else on this team.
Because you gotta assume, and you shouldn't assume, but you're gonna think that, okay, one, these players are not gonna stay healthy. So Davis and LeBron are not gonna stay healthy. They're gonna miss, a good chunk of the season, at least 25 games. At least they're gonna miss. So
Agree.
that means that you have Kyrie in there basically by himself, and we know how that went.
Went great in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's what we know how it went. Like,
It worked well in Boston too. I mean, amazing.
yeah. So
you want-
that doesn't scare anybody out west.
And I think we're starting to see that pairing all these players together isn't working. The teams that are winning are the teams that stay consistent are because they built themselves. The Golden State Warriors built themselves.
Yeah.
They added Kevin Durant. He came over, and then he left, and they still win.
Yeah, he came over to a championship team.
Right? So you can't. This building teams isn't working anymore. We've seen them all trying to do it, and it's not working. Stop.
Yeah,
Build a
because
team.
they're trying to infuse, the same guy 3 times. You can't have the same player on your team 3 times because that's too many people wanting the ball. It doesn't fly because now anybody that knows how to play defense can cover you.
And again, so you know what? I'm glad you said the word defense because it brought me back to something I heard the other day, and I believe it was Stephen A. Smith who says LeBron James in the top 3 all time, and then I started to question one thing: does LeBron James play defense like Michael Jordan did? So can we stop comparing, first of all, him to the GOAT when it comes to the NBA? Then they want to compare, well, he's made the most money in the NBA. That's phenomenal. I am glad for him as a human being, as a player. He's getting the money. He puts a lot of fans in the stands. He does a lot for the organizations. He does a lot for the communities. I will never discredit him for that. But does that make him a better basketball player because he's made more money? Or is that just the opportunities that arose now that the NBA has more money to pay? Michael Jordan, if he was playing today and he was Michael Jordan, he would be making a lot more money than he did back in 1990 because 30 years ago, the salaries were not what they are today. So you can't compare the two and say that this puts LeBron James ahead of Michael Jordan because he's made the most money guaranteed ever in the history of basketball.
We talk about this all the time, Eric, and I don't even have him on the Mount Rushmore of the NBA.
Agreed. Agreed. I mean, I'd be very hard pressed to put him. He's top 5, maybe. And even that, again, you could question some of the things. Larry Bird.
I'd say 6.
Larry Bird, 8-time all-defensive player.
Yeah.
Not only was a great scorer, great distributor, rebounder, he did all those things. He was an 8-time defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
All defense. So, again, you're not going to see that from LeBron James. So stop putting him on this pedestal because he's made $500 million guaranteed. That doesn't make him a better basketball player. It was the dumbest thing I've heard. And these guys get paid to do it. How about somebody pay us? That'd be nice. I'm going to go on a little rant now. We're going to talk some MLB. And we're going to talk about the New York Yankees and how concerned should Yankee fans be with this recent month of August. Aaron Judge looks disgusted there, which he should. I mean, another great outing last night by the Yankees. It's currently 4-12 in the month of August, 9-18 since the All-Star break, once they came back from the All-Star break. I am going to first off say that I understand team slump, and they've had teams that go into slumps and still win the World Series. But the issue right now with the New York Yankees is the hitting. And come playoff time, you're going to face much better competition when it comes to pitchers. If you can't hit now, what does that say for October baseball? You've blown a 15.5 game lead down to 9 games now. They're a 9-game lead in the AL East. They had the AL East locked up. It was a guarantee in July. You can't beat the teams you need to beat. You've lost to Tampa Bay. You've lost to Boston. You've lost now to Toronto. These are all the teams you got to stop worrying about because they're right on your backside. And then Aaron Boone comes out today and says, well, Giancarlo Stanton is progressing well. He should be back shortly. He's the same thing. He's a strikeout home run hitter. If you can't do it now, teams are already starting to do it with Aaron Judge. He was having a phenomenal year. But you know why? Because they were pitching to him. Teams figured it out. Stop pitching to him.
Yeah.
Don't give him things to hit. Everything's outside the zone, low, things that aren't going to be a home run. Guess what? The team struggles.
Yeah, look, I mean, if not for their great start, they'd be seeing what the Red Sox are seeing right now.
Exactly. They'd be a 4th, 5th place team.
You know, I mean, the Red Sox have just been awful. You know, I mean, they couldn't even sweep Pittsburgh. They had the first 2 games, and then they go out and lay an egg last night. So what the Yankees are going through is what the Red Sox have been seeing for quite some time. And you can't, it's not just the hitting. It's a combination of everything.
They're still third in ERA in Major League Baseball.
But they were first.
Again, that Dodgers team been on fire.
But they were first, and it's slipping and slipping and slipping and slipping. And it all goes back to trade deadline day when they traded away, you know, their 4th starter, Montgomery.
He's 3-0 right now with a .54 ERA, 17 strikeouts with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Montas, who we picked up at the trade deadline, he's 0-1 with a 9 ERA.
Yeah.
8 strikeouts, like in 3 appearances. Clearly made a mistake there. But then I wanted to look at this. So I said, let me look at the last 30 days. And I'm going to give you some names right now. Aaron Hicks. He's batting 158.
Yeah.
In the last 30 days, 19 strikeouts. Gleyber Torres, 187, 31 strikeouts. 31. Andrew Benintendi, who was a 300 and I think it was 315 when he came over. Batting 200 right now with 19 strikeouts. He's not even a strikeout guy.
I know.
Anthony Rizzo, 213, 18 strikeouts. Josh Donaldson, 221, 31 strikeouts. They're all in the same ballpark. They've got the same, it's either mentality is hit it out or strike out. That's it. It's not working. You're pitching only giving up 2 to 3 runs a game, and you can't even you can't score a run. You can't score a run right now. They scored 2 runs last night.
Yeah, you got too many guys holding the bat too tight. we say this about, hockey players when they're holding the stick too tightly, and so nothing is coming off of their stick. In this case, a bat that's the proper way to hit. So they're tightening up, and they're just not hitting smart. And when they were doing everything right in their start, right up until the All-Star break, and then actually right up until basically the trade deadline, they were doing pretty much everything right. And so they were moving the players up. They were aggressive on the base path, but now they're running into outs. They're not hitting fly balls when they have a guy on third. It's just it's a lot of little things that have now compiled to make it big things, and now they're pressing too much, and they're causing mistakes after mistake.
Yeah,
The pitching is terrible.
They were fortunate enough early on; they were putting up runs.
Yeah,
and again, Aaron Judge was having a MVP season, almost record breaking.
Yeah,
but now you start to look at it. Aaron Hicks is hit into more double plays with bases loaded than any player in Major League Baseball this year. They're not getting clutch hitting. They're not getting timely hitting. They're not getting when guys are on second and they're able to bring that run around. It's not happening.
Yeah.
And that's where they're going to continue to struggle. You look at a team like Houston, a team like the Dodgers. Every time I see a Dodgers highlight, guy on second, here comes a line drive into the outfield, that guy scores. That's how you win baseball games. In the New York Yankees, one of the best teams at hitting home runs, which is phenomenal. But if you ain't hitting home runs, you ain't putting up runs.
Right.
That's what's happening with them.
Yeah, and pitching has gotten wise to it. And it doesn't hurt when some of the guys are out of the lineup, and now you're exposing players that normally get good pitches, they're not, and they're swinging at bad pitches, and they're striking out. Like, without some of the guys in the lineup, guys like Donaldson is just showing their true colors now.
Yeah, he's horrible. Horrible. It's been such a bad pick. And then you get rid of Joey Gallo, who's strikeout king. And I guess the rest of the team said, "Oh, we might as well just take over for him," because that's where it seemed to be going.
They miss him.
I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with them because this is going to turn
into my world, Eric. Look what I get to enjoy. This
not be an AL East race right now. This was supposed to be done and over with. This was about them in the playoffs. Can they get through the postseason and win a title? And right now, I'm not even sure they're going to win the AL East. Unreal. Anyway, let's talk about the Atlanta Braves. So, defending champions, having some problems. Marcell Ozuna is now he was arrested Friday morning for a DUI. Your thoughts on the situation?
Well, another player that I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't know what they're thinking. First of all, why is he out at that time? Why is he out at that time on a Friday night? He has a game Saturday.
So he's had some issues. I guess domestic dispute or last year ended up not even being in the World Series. Had to go through counseling for that.
Yep.
Apologized to the team, said he was going to be a different man and try to change his ways. And I'm not saying, look, people fall on hard times. He's having a very bad season. He's batting .214. He's losing time in the lineup. Again, these professional athletes, sometimes when you can see yourself, he's 31, maybe declining a little bit, right? It's not as easy when you're 31 to just bounce back. Some guys can, maybe some cream. We'll get into that at another day or time. But if he's starting to see that decline, maybe he's going through some stuff. But you would also hope that with the counseling that he got, he was able to have somebody to reach out to. To your point, 4:30 in the morning, what were you doing? To be intoxicated at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And, to your point, he has a game. He has a game that Saturday. Like you're basically, no wonder you're in a decline. Does the team suspend him? Do you think they suspend him? They keep him out?
I think they do.
right? So he may miss more time. And again, the Braves are in a heated pennant race with the Mets, and this is bad timing for them. If you talk about from a team standpoint and you apologize to the team, you just put them in a bad situation. Seeing ghosts over there?
Oh, the lights flickered.
Sam Donaldson? What's going on?
Oh.
Hey, it's face-off time. And, you know, I'm starting to really enjoy it. I've recently watched some of our old face-offs that you've posted now on Rhode Island Broadcasting. I love watching our pick and rolls. And still to this, I watched again today that greatest upsets in sports, and how upset you were. So
I'm still upset about it because you can't.
so good. These
Your
are so
arguments are so stupid, and you contradict yourself all the time.
good. You told me in that episode that it would happen again, and no 16 has beaten a one. It's been 4 years. Okay, I digress.
4 years? It was last year.
2018 when it happened.
Yeah, but I said that last year. That
Okay,
it would happen
you said it will
again.
happen. It hasn't happened.
I know it hasn't happened. It's been 1 year.
Oh boy, it's not happening. It's never going to happen. All right, so today's argument is going to be: should live golfers be awarded official world ranking points? So currently they are not. So any tournaments they're in, they don't get classified in the world rankings as a legitimate tournament. Obviously, there's some issues with live golf and the PGA, and the PGA is definitely trying to fight live golf at this point to be, to stay out of the world rankings. You are first, so you get to pick. Are you for them being allowed in the world rankings or against it?
Now the world rankings, is that from the PGA?
I
Do
believe
they-
it must be, or they have some affiliation with it.
Because that's the thing. I mean, so I'm going to say against, because if that is in fact a PGA thing, then of course live shouldn't be
But it may
rewarded
not be,
points.
because if you think about, look at the NCAA. They're not affiliated. The rankings aren't affiliated with the NCAA. So I think it's more that route.
Okay, then they deserve to be. So why should it just be a PGA tournament? There are 2 professional leagues now.
So now you're for it.
Now I'm for it.
Okay.
Like if it was a PGA ranking system, then no, obviously. But if it's not, then no, then they should be allowed to. Like what the hell? You know
what? You took the money and ran.
Right,
Live
but
Golf is paying you a ton of money. You're going to have to sacrifice some things. There's certain courses now you can't play. Tournaments.
Yeah, but if it's not a PGA, ranking system, then it should be it should qualify. There shouldn't be a, because if they're like, unless
Division
the
two,
ranking
NCAA
system,
basketball don't have a ranking.
if the ranking system is just going by PGA tournaments, then by all means they can do whatever they want and not allow live tournaments to be in there. So what I'm getting out of this, if they're saying they're not eligible for it, then they're saying they're just doing PGA tournaments. And that's that. So, you have to respect that ranking system, but then it's completely a sham because
it's not a true number one, because
right,
there's
exactly,
guys that aren't going to be on that list that probably would be.
Especially considering most of the good players are now in the
Now on
Live
Live.
Tour.
So if I would counteract this, if I was Live, since you got all this money anyway, why not just make your own rankings?
Exactly.
So that number one, it's almost like boxing at this point. Think about it. Boxing, how many WBC doesn't acknowledge the WBA or BO's champions, right? Do the same thing. This is our number one golfer. That's their number one golfer.
Yeah, no, that's what they're going to end up doing because, they don't care. They have all the golfers playing for them, the ones that matter,
They definitely,
the Live Tour, look, it has done a lot of things, and it is opening up people's eyes to what the problem is, because players are not happy with what some of the things that the PGA does. And, I mean, look, look, I don't think golfers should really complain because, I mean, even the last place guy gets something and he makes a better living than me playing golf on the weekends. So, I don't really care either way.
Well, he probably wouldn't even play on the weekends. If it's Thursday, Friday, and
But-
he's done because if he's out of the
Well,
tournament.
yeah, that's true too. So,
2
so
days
the
a
last
week.
place guy is getting a bundle.
Yeah, between sponsors, everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Live Golf has done something that is going to change the sport.
Oh,
for
yeah,
good,
it is.
for good or worse, we'll see. But you can't fault. Again, guys want to get ranked, then again, create your own ranking system. That to me makes more sense than trying to fight the PGA. Just eliminate. You're already trying to eliminate the PGA as it is. So why bother?
I don't think they're trying to eliminate the PGA. I think the players are trying to.
They offer Tiger Woods $700 million guaranteed.
Oh, I'm not saying Liv isn't trying to eliminate.
No, Liv is trying to. Yeah,
but the players are going over there.
Yeah,
because they want to make a statement that the PGA needs to do them better.
And money doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
money doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
NHL time, my friend. My NHL guru clearly won that, by the way.
Say what? You didn't win anything.
And
you made the same argument as me.
I think we ended up agreeing with each other at some point. Nazem Kadri has signed a 7-year, $49 million deal with the Calgary Flames. We're going to bring him up there. And does this make the Flames a contender to win the Western Conference?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. One player can do that.
You lose Johnny Gaudreau to Columbus and trade Matthew Tkachuk to Florida. You would think they'd be dead and buried.
Right.
And somehow they end up getting Huberdeau out of that deal.
And
Weegar, right? The defenseman. And now you get Kadri.
Yeah.
You've just rebuilt your team in a matter. Like, this is their GM did a phenomenal job of making this work.
Yeah, and not only that, you're not going to have one line now. You're going to have two lines. I mean, because they're not going to put Kadri and Huberdeau on the same line. They're going to be two different lines, and those two players are going to make their players on the wings better.
And
I mean, you can't help but be better.
And people can sit there and go, I can't believe, they broke up that team. But that team failed in the playoffs.
It did.
And people don't. Now you get a guy who just won the Stanley Cup, hence it's in his hands.
That's right.
Right? And now you're talking about experience and knowing how to win, how to get there, what it takes. That's a difference maker. And
I'll go even a step further with Kadri. He doesn't have to go to a big market city where the spotlight is going to be on him. So if he does something wrong, it's going to be that much more glaring. He could sit back in a nice setting like Calgary and have that kind of year he had in Colorado.
Yeah, no, look, I think they've done a phenomenal job of being relevant quick. You don't see teams reboot this quickly and end up being a contender. They're a contender.
Yeah. And
Colorado just got a little weaker.
Yes,
right?
It did.
They just took one of their best players away.
Right. It's going to be interesting,
So,
I'm sure St. Louis is happy about that because now they're looking at it like, wow, if they didn't have Kadri, we might have had a chance.
Kadri, 71 games last season, 28 goals, 59 assists, 87 points, plus 13 in the playoffs, 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points, a plus 7. So the impact he had on them winning that Stanley Cup. Now you add that to your team. I don't see how that's a bad move at all. Great move.
No, it's not.
Let's talk about it. Unfortunately, another situation. Carey Price may miss the upcoming season. So the goaltender, do you feel like his career is over? So what? I think he's approaching 35.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only played in 5 games last season.
This is a tough one because, like, Carey Price is a great goaltender. Great goaltender. But he's at that age now. And I'm thinking if Carey Price, what you're going to see from this could be just like what Tuukka Rask situation.
The attempt to come back.
Attempt to come back, next season, and leaves during, training camp. I mean, that's what you might get. Because he's going to miss it if he misses another year.
Yeah,
I mean, that's 2 years.
It's going to be very hard to come back. Again, took personal leave for some, mental health, which again, it was smart on his part if he needed it. So I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to give you 361, 261, and 79, 49 shutouts, 2.51 goals against, a 91.7 save percentage. He's won a Vezina, a Pearson, a Hart, a Jennings, and a Masterton.
Yeah.
One-time All-Star. Is he a Hall of Famer? No championships. 361 wins, though.
Yeah, I think the wins and that goals against and that save percentage probably gets in there. It's tough. It's tough. You're probably the only goaltender, longtime Montreal goaltender that didn't win a cup. How's that for you?
How happy look at your smile. The smile you put on your face when you said that.
Yeah. Well, you think about all the goaltenders they've had there.
City is Montreal now. You're off that Christmas card list, though.
And I didn't expect to be on their Christmas card list. Them and the Yankees, and Washington Redskins,
Commanders.
Oh yeah, Commanders, whatever. But you'll look at he's the only longtime goaltender that never won a Stanley Cup in Montreal. I mean, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, that is
saying a lot.
And it may hurt him when it comes to
to
the Hall of Fame. All right, my friend, it is pick and roll time.
Pick and roll.
And we are going to rank these players from the 1989, so 33 years ago, the NFL draft. All of these 5 players are in the Hall of Fame. This is how we picked them. They're all first-round draft picks as well. So all first round, all Hall of Famers. So how great was that? How great was that?
This was so difficult. This was so difficult.
So those players are Troy Aikman, Barry Sanders, Derek Thomas, Deion Sanders, and Steve Atwater. All phenomenal players, all Hall of Famers. We're going to rank them 5-1, 5 being the worst of the bunch, 1 being the best. Ron, you are first this week, which I'm so happy because I thought this was pretty difficult.
It was very difficult. And when I first looked at this list, I thought for sure my number 1 guy
would be a number 1 guy.
Yeah.
And he's not.
He is far from it.
Wow. What do you got? Talk to us.
My number 1 guy that I thought is number 5.
Wow.
And I'm not even sure this is even right, but I'm going to go with it. I put Derek Thomas at number 5.
I did too. I can't hold it back. I'm sorry. I did the same thing.
I thought he was going to be number 1, to be honest with you.
His numbers too. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah. So, the number that really stuck out to me was those 41 forced fumbles.
Right.
I'm like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a whole lot of whooping.
Yeah.
126 sacks. Like, those are great numbers.
Yeah.
Now, tackles, they didn't start taking the tackles total until 1994. So these players got kind of screwed, from when they were drafted to 1994. But he had 272 after that, which is still pretty good considering. You missed like 5. Was it? Well, no, 7 years.
No,
5 years. I don't know. My math stinks right now. So Derek Thomas, number 5, 9 Pro Bowls, 2 All Pros.
And you think his career got cut short?
Yeah.
Died in that car accident.
Yeah. And, I think his numbers could have ended up being better. Well, obviously they would have been better, but I had to put him at number 5, and I was stunned because if I'm drafting, I start with him.
Yeah, I agree. Look, on this list, it'd be very tough not to consider him one of the top 2.
Yeah. So, which then, which then led me to number 4, who I thought was going to be my number 2.
Oh, you're all over the place.
And my number 4 is Barry Sanders.
Say what?
Exactly. You thought I was going to have him number 1, didn't you?
I really did.
But I looked at it. Now, the thing is, this
Barry Sanders on this list.
look,
Wow.
there is
Okay.
there is no running back on this list other than Barry Sanders. Okay, so this just goes to show you where I value the running back. You know, like it is not the most important part of the team to win a championship. And if I'm starting with one of these guys, sorry, it isn't going to be Barry Sanders.
Okay.
So, but you look at those numbers, I mean, it's clearly the best running back numbers, per season. 10
Right.
Pro Bowls, 6 All-Pros, 1 MVP, Rookie of the Year. I mean, that's impressive. Those numbers are impressive.
And then as I was looking at his numbers, they used him on kick returns for his first year. So talk about trying to get somebody killed, but go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love the numbers. Number 4, though.
Mind blowing.
4.
Wow.
So
I'm dying to see how this list goes.
So it was really difficult. This was painful to do this list. Number 3, I put Troy Aikman. And there's one number that stood out and why he wasn't higher. And it wasn't the fact that he has 3 Super Bowls. 6 Pro Bowls. That's nice. His 61.5 completion percentage. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
In his era, 32,942 yards is pretty good. But the number that I looked at, and I was going to put him number 1. And then I looked at this number, 165 games, 165 touchdowns. That made him slip in my eyes. And I'm actually wondering, I'm actually curious if he should have slipped to number 4, but those 3 Super Bowls saved him because he's a smart quarterback and you want that on your team. So Troy Aikman, number 3.
Okay.
And so it was about these 2 guys. Once I saw these numbers, it was all about these 2 guys. And when you really think about it, who is the guy you compare every defensive back to?
Primetime, baby.
Yeah. So number 2 is Steve Atwater.
Okay.
His numbers are great. 24 interceptions, 6 forced fumbles, 5 sacks, more for the coverage than anything. And again, he's got that thing that they just don't throw the ball over there. Why make the mistake? And again, he had 334 tackles, which was really good. When you lose
tackle numbers, but okay.
Yeah, well, I did.
I got 1,188 combined tackles.
Well, I'm talking about solo tackles. I maybe I read the wrong column, but 334, and that's missing the first 5 years.
Yeah.
So 8 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pros, 2 Super Bowl rings. So, he's a big part of those Super Bowls. When you look at that team, it wasn't just the offensive side of the ball. He was a big part of that. Big part.
Definitely.
But again, like I say, when you compare, defensive players at all, you're usually comparing them to primetime. So Deion Sanders is number 1 on this list. 53 interceptions, and that's without people throwing the ball to his side.
Yeah, think about it, right?
It's still, as a defensive back, 10 forced fumbles, only 1 sack, but that's not what he was supposed to be doing. I mean, if you want to line him up to go sack the quarterback, he'd probably do it.
Yeah, and I think it was his first year.
Yeah, I think it was. I look, the 8 Pro Bowls, 6 All Pros. That means he's the best at his position. 6 years, the best. And there was like he missed what 3 seasons? Was it 3
Yeah, he
seasons?
retired. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he came back. Yep.
Yeah. 2 Super Bowls. I mean, look, he put his money where his mouth was.
Yeah.
You know, like all that talking, and he backed it up.
Absolutely.
He was special to watch, and you know, you can say a lot about the players today. I don't know if we'll ever see another Dion
No.
like that.
No. Definitely not. Well, this was a little different. We had a difference this week. I agree with you at 5, Derek Thomas. It pained me. I just didn't feel like he had enough of that 126.5 sacks. I mean, phenomenal. But some of these other guys, I went Troy Aikman at 4.
Yeah, no, and I was just saying that. I was like,
And
the only thing that saved him is those Super Bowls.
Yeah, and again, 71 losses. I know the first year the team was really bad. If you haven't checked out Sports Unfolded Dynasty, though, we do cover the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Great show. Check that out on Rhode Island.
Yeah, we said a lot of good things about Troy Aikman on there.
Yeah, we did. At 3, I went Steve Atwater.
Yeah. No, I
then-
knew where you were gonna place these guys.
I love his numbers. Again, when you talk about the 2 defensive backs on here, though, clearly one stands above the other.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I went Barry Sanders at 2.
Yeah.
And again, I just think his numbers electric. Again, I wish he had gotten one chance to be in the Super Bowl. That's the only thing on that part of it. And then I went Dion. But I wanted to bring up the fact that, and as I was doing this, I started to look at, he had 9 touchdowns off interceptions.
Yeah.
He had 9 touchdowns in kick and punt returns.
Right.
Think about the game today. It's non-existent kickoffs for the most part.
Right.
In punt returns, I mean, basically, how many times do you see a guy break it now? This guy was doing it on a regular. He had over 5,000 yards combined in yardage gained on kick returns.
Yeah, that's why I said we'll never see another guy like that again.
And he had receiving yards.
Yeah.
They used him at receiver, too.
He was a
8
great
Pro Bowls,
athlete.
6 All-Pros. He was phenomenal. I loved him. Loved Primetime, one of my favorite players of all time. But great list. Great
Now
group
he's
of guys.
part of the XFL.
Ugh. Great group of guys. We'll be covering it, but USFL, we got into them a little bit. What was it? What was your tip?
The Stallions, man. The Stallions.
The champs. The champs. It's prediction time. And you gained a game. So 4-game lead right now. But it is getting. We're gonna bring that chart up there. We added Manny. Manny is on the chart now. Dan's been on that chart. So Manny 1 and 2 with 33% last week. Manny,
we have a bunch of
Dan, if
viewers.
you're still out there, let's get some picks today. But we're still doing pretty well. 57%, 220, I think 9 games ish.
Yeah. And we only do the tough things.
Yeah. So we always try to pick the tough ones. Great to see people participating too. So join in, check us out. All right, so you're up first. We got 8-19. So starting tonight, Houston Astros at the Atlanta Braves, 3-game series.
There's could be maybe some revenge factor.
Oh, I didn't think about that. World Series.
I got a feeling Houston is going to come out, and I'm going to take Houston in this one.
Houston's been more consistent all year. Played much better baseball.
They're such a good team.
And they got a stranglehold on the American League right now. They know they got the best record. I'm going Houston. They can't afford to lose this series. So we both agree on that one. 8-19, Major League Soccer. We got the LA Galaxy at the Seattle Sounders Football Club. Galaxy is playing some great football. And the Sounders let me down last week. So I am definitely going. I'm going LA. I'm going Galaxy.
Yeah, I am going out Galaxy as well. That's quite unfortunate that you picked them.
8-20. We got a big heavyweight matchup, championship. Alexander Azuk versus Anthony Joshua. Manny's got LA.
There we go, Manny.
Chakra, thanks for joining.
Chakra. And check out people that, that are here on Twitch, like Chakra.
I
You know,
watched Chakra the other
_
day.
power. You know,
Yeah, watched them the other day. Some good stuff.
absolutely.
So who do you got?
I have Usyk.
Ooh, I got Joshua.
Oh,
Got Joshua. Big heavyweight fight. Joshua defending the title.
Well, you do know that Usyk is whatchamacallit from oh my god, I can't think of the country now. That just got invaded. I can't think of it.
Oh, Ukraine?
Ukraine, thank you. So
Wow.
he's
Nice
all
fight for the country.
he actually fought for the country.
Okay, I think I remember. Yeah, he went on the front lines, right? Yes.
That's right, he
Yeah,
did.
I do remember that. We got UFC here.
Oh, Josh picked Manny picked Joshua.
So Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards, UFC. I went Usman. This is a rematch.
Yes. I also went Usman. I think you went Joshua because you couldn't say Usyk's name.
Alexandra Usyk.
Yeah, I think you went Joshua because of that.
No, that is not why I went. Tonight, actually, game just about kicking off right now. Carolina Panthers at the New England Patriots preseason.
Is what's his face playing? Mac?
Yes.
So I'm gonna go
They say
New
he is.
England.
All right, I went Panthers.
New England has let me down already. So
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what this new offense looks like. I don't even think they'll do much.
So
today.
Manny went with the Panthers as well.
Manny picked everybody I picked. Oh, Manny, we're gonna fail together, my friend. We're gonna fail together. Sink or swim.
And you all go down.
All right, and then Sunday we got NASCAR Cup Series, Watkins Glen International. We have got to pick a driver to finish in the top 5, and if both our drivers finish in the top 5, whoever goes ahead, we get extra points. Right? So
what if we pick the same one?
2, we could. Who's up here? Me? You. And me?
Yeah,
I went Chase Elliott. He's averaging 1.5.
Yeah, I picked Chase Elliott too.
Hey, here we go.
And the reason because he's won this race twice.
Yes. So it'll be interesting to see if we get that right. If he finishes in the top 5, we both win.
Yep.
We both get points. All right. So if you enjoy what you're watching, check us out every Friday night, 6 p.m. We are live. We're fan interactive. We got Chakra, Dan, Manny all join us tonight.
There's
Thank
been
you guys.
quite a few tonight.
Thank you for joining. If you'd like to follow us, social media, check out all of our ticker there. If you're in Southeast Connecticut, public access, channel 12. That's Southeast Connecticut on Tuesdays at 10 p.m. It is a rebroadcast of today's show. Check us out on Fridays if you enjoy it and you're watching it right now on SEC TV. Also, if you'd like to sponsor the show, ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. Check us out. We'd love to get some businesses to sponsor us. We want to continue to grow our show. All you need to do is email. We'll give you all the information. Very simple, easy to do. You're going to have thousands of eyes worldwide on your business. So don't forget that. Ron, as we normally do, we finish our show. We do our final thought or thoughts. You are first today, so your final thought.
Okay, so my final thought is for the total debacle of yet another decision by the NFL. They just never get it right. They absolutely just never get it right because they wait to find out what the media says and then the fans' reaction, and then they try to correct what they do. The proper thing to do is to do things properly from the beginning and do what's right. How hard is that? How hard is it to just do what's right and best for the fans? It's the fans' perspective that you have to worry about, not the bottom line of the NFL football teams. Because when you have that in mind, you're never going to make the right decision. And yet again, the NFL proves this time and time again. And here we go. Now we get to watch them rake money in for another return where it should not have been like that.
Agreed.
Not have been.
Agreed. Great point. My final thought is actually about a gentleman named Michael Hickman. Unfortunately, lost his life. He's a Texas youth football coach, and sadly, during the game, got into an argument with Yaqub Talib, who is actually brother of former NFL player Aqib Talib. He allegedly pulled out a gun and shot him while the kids were still on the field as well. And when we talk about senseless gun violence, and we continue to talk about it, this is again another incident where again we love sports, Ron. We argue all the time about what's right or wrong, what we feel should happen or not happen. At no point in time have I ever thought I really want to shoot you. Like, it's never crossed my mind. We can,
Well, that's a good thing.
We can agree to disagree. You know what I mean? Like, let's agree to disagree. How you felt, first of all, the effects it's going to have on these children now for the rest of their lives. You've just taught them the same thing that we're trying to teach them not to do, is solve things with violence. And somebody had to lose their life who was trying to help kids grow and become better people. The world lost a very good man. Everything I've read, a father. Their kids now, their kids grow up without a father, and over what? A score, a bad call, something you didn't agree with the referees or whatever it might have been. Was it really that drastic that somebody had to lose their life over it? It's again another sad story. Again, I feel so bad for those kids as well, because they've got to carry this for the rest of their lives. He turned himself in. We'll see what happens. He said he's got a side to his story. I still don't know how a bullet would be anybody's answer.
To me, that doesn't even matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what he says. It should not make you turn to a gun.
Yeah. So, unfortunate tragedy. But that's my final thought. Ron, I want to thank you for your time today. It's been great. Manny, Chakra, Dan, thank you all for joining. We will continue to do this every Friday. Sports Unfolded. So excited. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check us out. Can't wait to see what happens next week. Show will be talking some Pats. We'll break down the preseason game from tonight and even more. So, Ron, I will see you on Friday. Take care, my friend. And all we ask for in this world is peace.
Have a good night, everybody.